Do you, as a real estate professional, have enough grit to not only survive this business, but to thrive in this business? What is going on, guys? My name is Chris Elliott with the Elliott Real Estate Team based out of Glen Allen, Virginia. In this video, what we're going to be talking about is grit. What is it? How do we develop it? Why is it important? Let's go. So, Carol Dweck wrote a beautiful book called Grit, where she basically found through research that the one common denominator between high achievers in any field, be it business, be it athletics, be it whatever, was grit. And the way she defined grit was the sustained effort and determination to achieve one's long-term goals that ultimately led to success. And in that book, what she basically broke down is that grit is broken down into two components: it's passion and it's perseverance. Passion, as she's defined in the book, is not just an interest or a fleeting excitement, but a deep and enduring commitment to a particular goal or endeavor. It involves consistently working towards something that holds personal meaning and significance, right? So that is passion. Secondly, is perseverance, which refers to the ability to stay dedicated and motivated despite facing challenges, setbacks, failures, and adversity. It's a quality that enables individuals to maintain their effort and focus even when things get tough, right? So I personally, as a simpleton, call this the Rocky Balboa, factor of how many times can you get punched in the face and keep coming back for more, right? So guys, why is grit so important? Well, number one, we're in a challenging industry, which if you didn't already know, you probably haven't been in business more than 5 minutes. Like, it's a tough business to make it through. We have an 87% failure rate in this business, right? And that's not because people don't want to succeed. It's because it is a tough business. And a lot of people get into it thinking it's going to be easy money, right? So we're always facing changing market conditions. The business landscape in general is always changing, but real estate in particular, I mean, the market's always fluctuating. Things are always moving. Things are always changing. So we're continuously having to adapt. On a daily basis, even when things are going well, we're facing rejection, right? We're having offers not being accepted. We're having clients not choosing us and choosing to work with somebody else. Uh, we're getting rejection on a daily basis, right? Which can be very tough for a lot of people. And then last but not least, we have deals that aren't going our way, or our income to a certain degree is out of our control, right? We are relying on other people to make decisions to buy or to sell. And sometimes they make decisions not to, sometimes they make emotional decisions, deals fall apart. And a lot of times there's only but so much we can do, as real estate professionals. So that can be a little unnerving as well, right? So grit is very important to not only, like I said in the beginning of this video, survive this business, but to thrive in this business, you need to be gritted. So um, why do we need this grit? Well, like I talked about, just to survive this business. But your clients are relying on you to be a real estate professional to lead you through the transaction. So if you crumble at the first sign of adversity, if you are emotional, if you're all over the place, right? Folks are not going to be able to rely on you. You need to be steady Eddie through the transactions. And let's be honest, guys, a lot of folks will not trust anybody that hasn't been in this business for a couple of years. That's not to say that you can't have success as a realtor, but the ability to stay in this business and to stay successful is going to build even more trust in your sphere of influence and your past clients of like, hey, this guy, this gal is somebody that's not going anywhere, right? And then last but not least, to be successful in this business, you got to be able to adapt to changing market conditions, and that requires grit. So how do we build grit? So like I said, there's two components here. There's passion and there's perseverance. So number one, passion. We've got to have long-term and short-term goals, right? We got to have something sexy that we are working towards. I like long-term. These are like one day, someday goals. These are like career goals. Like for me, one of my long-term goals is financial independence. I want to wake up in the morning and not have to go to work. That's going to take me years to develop. Okay. That's a very powerful goal. However, because it's such a long term, because it's so far out in the future, that can be a tough one to sustain you for a long time, just because it's so far in the future. If I told you you could achieve something in 20 years, like that's great, but a lot of people can't hang on and wait long enough for that 20-year goal. So therefore, we need those short-term 3, 6, month, 1-year goals of like, hey, we've got these benchmarks along the way. We've got these little nuggets, these little stickers, these little cookies that we can eat along the way towards our long-term goal, right? So short-term, long-term goals. I would encourage you guys to write out your goals on a daily basis. So every single working morning, I like to write out my 1-year goals, right? My GCI goals, my savings goals, my investment goals, my workout goals, my personal life goals, right? And what that does is it just reminds you of those goals by forcing yourself to, and I encourage you to write it with a pen and paper. By writing something out, it forces your brain to concentrate on it because you can't write it without thinking it. And it just continuously reinforces that goal of why are we putting ourselves through hell a lot of times every single day. It's because of those goals that we have. I would encourage you to develop a vision board. So, I used to think this was a little like hokey, but they're super powerful. So go out there and get yourself a cork board, order some from Amazon. Honestly, I've got a vision board in my office. I've got one in my home. I've got like a makeshift vision board on my bathroom mirror in my bathroom. And what we're going to do is we're going to have visual representation. So go to Google Images, go find visual representations, images of both your long-term and your short-term goals, print those off, cut them out, slap them to the vision board, and just continuously reinforce your brain, remind your brain of why you're working so hard, why you're dealing with the rejection, why you're going through everything that you're going through. It's because of those goals, right? When I have a particular tough day and I'm like, man, why am I like, I'm just gonna, hang it up and go get a 9-to-5 job. I have those thoughts still to this day, but I look at that vision board and I'm like, man, that right there, that goal is worth going through whatever I need to go through to get it. So, but you got to remind yourself of those because it's very easy to forget, why am I doing what I'm doing? And then last but not least, and this one might seem a little like this doesn't seem like it ties in, but you need to develop a growth mindset through continual learning. So if you are continually exposing yourself to new ideas, new concepts, new methodologies, and you're continuously learning and growing personally, what you're going to find is like, man, I know I can achieve all these things because I'm learning these new things. And then you get to a point where you're like, man, I can achieve, it sounds cliche, I can achieve anything I want if I'm willing to continue to learn, gain new skills, gain new knowledge, gain new, relationships. You realize the world truly is your oyster if you're willing to get into that growth mindset, right? So that's passion. Next, we have perseverance. So first and foremost, make a decision that you're going to be somebody that has perseverance. There's been a lot of books that have been written by Navy SEALs lately, and I love the ethos of them of like, we as Navy SEALs simply do not quit. Like we will literally die before we quit. And man, magical things start happening when you just make a decision that you're not going to quit, because basically what it forces your brain to do is to find a way to make it work. Like if your brain knows, if your crocodile brain realizes like you are simply not going to quit, you stop looking for ways, you stop looking for excuses, you stop looking for ways to find out like, how can I justify that this didn't work? And like it forces your brain to say like, I'm not coming off of this goal, I'm not coming off of this task until you achieve it. And then man, all of a sudden you start figuring out ways to make it work. Things start revealing themselves. It's just magic happens when you make a decision that I'm not going to quit, right? Secondly, and this kind of goes back into passion, but remind yourself of your goals, right? That's going to give you the energy, the mental focus to sustain on a task, even when it gets hard, if you are continuously reminding yourself of your goals. Third is energy management. So sleep, nutrition, exercise, that's a whole different video. But basically, if you are not taking care of your physical body on a daily basis, you're simply not going to have the energy to sustain, to persevere. I had a football coach that told me one time that fatigue makes cowards of us all. And man, is it true? If you are hungry, if you are tired, if you are malnourished, if you're out of shape, you're just simply, it's going to be a lot easier for you to quit, right? Fourth, I'm going to encourage you to develop boundaries and a work-life counterbalance. So boundaries. We all work a lot. I'm not one that's going to tell you that you can work 30, 40 hours a week and be successful in this business. You're probably going to have to work some more, but I would encourage you not to let this business bleed into your life, 24/7, where you're always on, you're always willing to take a phone call, you're always willing to run out and do a showing. It's going to make you miserable. It's going to burn you out. It's going to piss your family off. It's going to hurt your relationships. Make decisions on, this is when I work and this is when I'm not willing to work. Like, so for me, I'm not taking calls after 8 p.m. at night. I am not working Saturday evenings and Saturday nights. I'm not working Sunday mornings, right? For me, that's my time off. Like, that's when I know I get to relax. I don't have to be on. That's when my family knows. Like, that's when they get me. That's when I'm undivided attention for them. And we need that work-life counterbalance, like, to just keep us from burning out, to give us the emotional energy that we need to sustain. Fifth, I'm going to encourage you to develop some sort of hobby, some sort of something that you're excited about, that brings you joy outside of the world of real estate. So I know for a lot of high achievers, this kind of ties into their exercise. So maybe they're into CrossFit, maybe they're into pickleball, maybe they're into golf. That's my personal one. And it kind of, you kill 2 to 3 birds with one stone. A lot of times it's a hobby, but it's also exercise, right? So I'm working that in. A lot of times there's a social aspect of it. So, like, I'm getting my social cup filled. I'm also networking. So I would encourage you to figure out some sort of hobby. Probably, if you can develop it around exercise, where you're hanging out with other people, that's probably going to be more beneficial to you than, like, building model trains in your basement. But if that's your deal, like, develop something that you can have excitement about and passion for outside of the world of real estate. And then last but not least, get a coach. So this can either be a paid coach, this can be a team leader, this can be a mentor. You need somebody when you're down in the dumps to be able to pull you out, give you the perspective of, like, hey man, you're doing the work, you're doing the right things, just keep going, right? A lot of times we need that voice. We need to develop strong internal voice, but a lot of times we need that external voice to just keep us on path, put the blinders on, put the bumper guardrails, and let us know that we're doing the right things, or that we need to tweak, or we need an adjustment. But somebody speaking in your life, reminding you to keep going, keep persevering. So guys, I hope this helps. Develop some grit, use it to your advantage, and achieve big goals.